This is entry 3 to my vlog for the Discord book for the progress that is taking so much longer than I wanted, but you know, perfection doesn't occur overnight, and I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so just gotta roll with the punches. Today's video, I kind of want to discuss how to kind of like want to use the book as like a way to explain how to have God or preaching the gospel in your books. If you're a Christian writer, that is a very it is a struggle to introduce God in such a way that doesn't feel in your face, that doesn't feel like you're reiterating from a script. You always want it to feel natural. First question you always want to ask yourself is, you know, what's the story, basically? What is the plot, and how can we incorporate God into it? So for Discord, originally, when I was originally writing it, it wasn't going to be a Christian book. It was just a story of passion that I've been cultivating since I was in middle school, I think. And obviously I had a lot of back and forth ideas between me and my best friend at the time. It was just more fun. And then when I knew that I wanted to write Christian books, that I wanted every story that I had to have an element of Christianity or of God in some way, I knew I had to do it with this story, because this was a story I've been wanting to introduce to people, but I just never knew how to like properly, you know, portray God in something like this. The Covenant has always been easier for me because I'm so used to allegories. I grew up reading like Pilgrim's Progress, being a big fan of the Chronicles of Narnia. My parents always taught me to look for God in different aspects, in different storytelling, so that I could better understand God and the gospel. So, you know, the Covenant, it's very much inspired by like Pilgrim's Progress and Narnia, in the sense of like the good and evil has like different names, even though they clearly represent you know, like God and Satan, with a story that's not allegorical, but definitely, you know, it's dystopian. It's a future. It's talking about war and stuff. How can you introduce it in a way that isn't going to turn people off to continuing the story? And one thing I've had to accept is that not everyone that picks up the book is going to finish the book. They honestly like may really be turned off just by the aspect of Christianity in there, or you know, any aspect of God. And you know, that is their choice, and that's just something you gotta live with. But there may be some who are more open to it, and for those people, you know, you want to make sure that it's 100% accurate to what the Bible says, while also making sure that it's understanding. For Discord, I ended up going with the idea of, we have two perspectives of the whole war. We have Zach, who lives in this like walled up town called Pampelmo, and then we have Destin, who is part of a clan, and he's basically like a young prince, essentially. And I had to figure out how was I gonna portray God in this. And the easiest way that I saw was that at least one of our main characters had to already have like an understanding of God, even if they're young and they're still learning more about God, but like they have to be the one to kind of introduce it. So I ended up going with Destin, and that actually ended up being a whole thing with a whole like step to how I was creating the character. I decided that, okay, well, Destin probably would have heard it from his family, but his dad and their entire clan, they're all oh my gosh, what's the word? Polytheistic. So they worship more than one god. So how in the world does the prince of this clan of Cliff, which is what the clan is called, how does he find God in all of this? And there was a lot of different drafts as to how he learned about God and how he became a Christian. The one that I ended up loving the most was he heard it from his mother. Okay, well then who is his mother? I ended up going with a concept which hopefully will spawn a prequel to explain this more, that Destin's mother is actually Israeli. She's from Israel. She comes to Cliff, and she has knowledge of of the biblical texts like the Torah. So that's essentially, for us Christians, that's like most of that is like the first 5 books of the Bible, I believe. So that's Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. In her search for peace and her search for stability in a new land, she comes across texts about Jesus, and about how he was the Messiah that the Israelites have been waiting for. And the reason I feel more comfortable with this storyline is because there have been many testimonies of people who come from Jewish families who end up converting to Christianity, and that's how Destin kind of knows more about God, is because of his mother. Her knowledge she passed on to him, and now he holds on to that as like a source, as his strength. He feels isolated more so because of it, because at the setting of the story, and this is not a spoiler, this is kind of right from the get-go, Destin's mother is not around, so he feels like he can't talk to his dad about it because his dad, it worships all these other gods. The only person he feels comfortable with talking to is his surprise. I know this is gonna sound really weird, but it's his atheist uncle. And the reason I decided that his uncle was atheist was because I also wanted to show that like a big stigma in Christianity, at least for me growing up, was like atheists are mean. But growing up and you experience, you get out in the world and you meet people and you realize that stigma that ultra religious people taught you may not be accurate, and obviously it wasn't. And I wanted this to be like a great opportunity to show also that just because someone is an atheist doesn't mean that they're more chill or accepting of other people having these different beliefs. And I wanted to show that with Destin's uncle, that Destin's uncle doesn't believe in any gods, so he gets the isolation aspect of that Destin is feeling, and that's kind of what bonds them, is that isolation of their very unpopular beliefs. But there's also this respect. They may disagree, like Destin believes there is a God and his uncle doesn't, but that doesn't come between them. If anything, that like strengthens their bond, that like they can talk to each other about these differences and still be able to walk away with the same amount of respect and love for each other that they started with. That's the one way I'm going to be portraying the gospel and God through this, and especially because it's in the title. The story is about discord. We have war. It delves into a lot of the concept of there being discord between people and how that breaks unity. The Bible actually does say that like try to live peacefully with people, not just with each other in the church, but try to be at peace. Try to be like have peace with everyone. It's honestly what I try to do just in my personal life, just to be at peace with everyone. I don't have to agree with everybody, but I try to be as peaceful as I can. And I do hope my books help encourage that type of mindset in the Christian community. Going back to the whole purpose of this video, writers who are Christians and they wanna spread the gospel through books. They want to talk about God in books, and they want non-Christians to read these books. My advice would be take your time with figuring out how to portray, how to integrate that in, because you don't want it to feel like whiplash. You want it to feel very natural to the story. You want it to be part of that ebb and flow. Don't want to turn it into a sermon. I've made that mistake before with stories in the past. And honestly, like I said, just take your time with it, because you never know. You may surprise yourself. And honestly, especially if you trust God and you just ask him, like, hey, how do I go about this? He'll show you. He may not always show you right away. Sometimes it takes time, but it's his time, and according to the Bible, his timing is perfect, even if we don't think so. So yeah, little tidbit for Discord, as well as a little bit of a writing lesson for young Christians. Yeah, that's honestly all I have to say. Yeah, hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.